Dear Katie, welcome here in Amsterdam. We are here to talk about your new book, The Hour of Violet, about great writers at the end of their life. Where was the idea born for this book?
Well, to be honest, I really think I started writing this book when I was 12 years old, and I was very sick in the hospital, and I stopped breathing actually in a taxi cab on the way to the emergency room, and I had stopped breathing for 2 minutes. And so I came very close, and I was very sick for a year and in the hospital, out of the hospital, and I had part of one of my lungs removed. In that time, started thinking about, I thought I was going to die. So I thought a lot about the confrontation with mortality. And so it's a subject that's been with me since that time. And obviously I sort of put it away and lived a normal life and stopped thinking about death all the time. But I did, I think I really started thinking about the book then.
How did you manage to stay objective, not sentimental about the subject?
Well, I really tried not to be sentimental. To me, I have a kind of horror of sentimentality. And it's very hard not to, when you're writing about, say, people in their last days of life, there's a really strong pull to kind of euphemize things or to make things prettier than they are, or to kind of be lyrical. And I just tried to resist that in this book.
If you could ask your father one more final question, what would that be?
Oh, that's a really hard question. One of the reasons why I started this book was I wanted to know what was he thinking about it. What did he think? When he was actually dying, what did he think? Mm-hmm. And so in a way, this book is sort of a pursuit to kind of answer that question for myself. And I wasn't able to, kind of at the end of it, I won't give it away, but there's sort of a shocking ending of what I discover. The book is about the terror of death. And about in this confrontation, when you know you're going to die, how do you deal with the fact, this like terror that's unimaginable, that we can't really hold in our heads or think about? How do you imagine it? And I guess I would want to know what he thought in that moment.
Yeah. Weren't you secretly looking for the answer, how to live forever?
I think that is true. And I kind of mentioned that in the beginning of the book, that I feel like what you really want to read these stories for is like, how can I not die? And I think my father actually, he was a scientist. He really was, I think, kind of weirdly accepting of the idea that it's your turn and you live and then, you die. I think he actually had a different perspective. Yeah. But again, something I could ask him if I was able to ask him a question.
You write about, 6 authors. Why these authors?
It's very hard for me to answer that question because I feel like there were so many people I wanted to write about that I couldn't. But the way I chose these particular writers, I started with the idea of this confrontation with death is something that we can't think about or put into words. So I wanted to find people who had such extraordinary imaginations that they could put it into words in a way that I can't. So I picked somebody like John Updike because the way he expresses things, he's able to put something into words that's so beautiful that I thought he might be able to capture it. So I was choosing people who spoke to me, whose work spoke to me. I also, they came to me by instinct. It's strange. I just had this feeling, and it's really not a very satisfying answer to your question, I know, but I had this feeling with their work and their deaths. I found people who died in different styles, had different approaches, but there was like a heat in my research that I can't explain. It was like an instinct, and I followed that instinct. And in a way, like, these were really extraordinary people, but like their deaths, you can recognize a lot of other deaths in these deaths. Like they didn't die extraordinary deaths. They died ordinary deaths.
Yeah, but they are extraordinary.
They're extraordinary people, yeah. But it makes you, I think everybody does have some connection to this topic.
Are you afraid to die?
Am I afraid? I feel like after this book, I'm less afraid. Because when I looked at all these deaths, I did kind of come out of it thinking, it's okay.
Yeah, you have
in a
to
way that I
accept
hadn't.
it.
Yeah, I think I did.
And do you have peace of mind now? Now it's finished?
I do feel good about it, and I feel that it was my best book. And I feel much more peaceful about the subject. So I think it was worth it. It was definitely a struggle. It was a very difficult book to write.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.